What's up, guys? Welcome to the live stream. No, that's not Photoshop. That's actually Adam. I see some comments flying already like, who's that guy? It's not Adam or Cusco. That's actually Adam in the thumbnail. He sent me that picture, so I thought that's a good thumbnail right there. I'm gonna go ahead and use that, and so I did. Shoot, guys, guess what? You're watching Triple B TV. Now, before we bring Adam on, I know you guys are probably wondering, like, why are we early, Brian? Why are we starting early? I don't understand. We always start at 6 o'clock. Why are we early? I had to cancel my dinners. I had to blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, we're early. Here's what happened, okay? Somebody who I call my friend, decided to schedule his stream during my stream when I usually do mine. This is, I mean, friends like that, who needs, you know how the thing goes. But so I feel like I got Charlie Murphy. That's what happened. I got Charlie Murphy, and he played Rick James. He's like, fuck your stream, nigga, fuck. And then I just I sat there and what did the finger say to the face? But you know, could have called, but I would never do anything like that because I'm professional. I would never do anything like that. Never. No, but I luckily my guest was cool enough to last minute make a change so that I figured people might want to watch both of them, you know, live. And I was like, well, we could compromise or work around it a little bit, and you know, then both people can watch both of the lives. Right? But anyway, that's that. But I like to think that I'm still a pretty good friend, so the link for that stream is down below if you want to check that out after. It's down there. And the moral of the story is that all people on YouTube with YouTube channels are self-absorbed assholes. That's what it is. And on that note, I'd like to bring on our guest, Mr. Adam Wickens. There he is.
Hey, Charlie Murphy.
I didn't know before I brought you on, I didn't know till 2 minutes ago that you were professional comedians. And I felt like I was under pressure there trying to be funny.
Yeah, I love screaming jokes at strangers. It's like my favorite thing in the world. It's a good time. Mm-hmm.
That must be fun. So you actually do that for how long have you done that for a living?
So like not that long. Like I started doing stand-up in 2017, so it hasn't been like super long. But yeah, I love doing it, and I get out and do it as much as I can. And if you've got a stage and a microphone, I'll be there to tell you jokes. That's how it goes.
That's cool, man. So this is you sent me a few photos, and we'll jump into some of them right now. Well, there's the thumbnail photo. Well, I guess we should go. So this was before comedy. This is so you got ripped so that you could go on stage and tell jokes, and if everybody gave you any crap, you could be like.
Yeah, so I did that first, and the only reason I stopped doing that is I tore my shoulder apart, and I'm like, okay, I like being on stage a lot, but like, what could I do to be on stage but keep my clothes on? And then I thought, oh, well, I'll just like write some dick jokes, and then you know, there I was a few years later doing that instead. So I don't look like that anymore, though. That's who's this Oompa Loompa looking guy right here?
Well, I'm looking to look like that. If I can, I'm working on it right now. I mean, not right this second. I've got a glass of whiskey in my hand right now, but this morning I was sitting here right in the same spot on this floor doing crunches, things. And then I ran to the pool. I swam in the pool, ran back here. I'm trying to get like this. If you have any tips or tricks on how to I'm assuming diet had to be a huge part of that.
Yeah, my advice would be give up your social life. Don't talk to your family anymore. Only concentrate on bodybuilding. Only eat broccoli and chicken breast, and you're allowed to put mustard and hot sauce on it if you want. That's basically it. That's my advice.
Well, okay, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that. So the second best, even if I like kept the even if I like burned 4,000 calories a day and only consumed 2,000 a day, even it would still have to be broccoli. And like, could you pull it off and still have, say, I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're probably not going to get to like 5% body fat, but who wants to walk around at 5% body fat? You feel sick all the time anyway. So you can get in good shape, just like high protein, and then use carbohydrates or fat as your fuel source, and whatever you eat one of, don't eat a lot of the other one. That's basically it. It's
So
kind of like a simple formula.
as long as I stay, like if I do simple math and stay under the carbs, like if I stay under the calorie count, like for example, today I'm at the end of the day I'll have burned about 4,000 calories, and I'm gonna have some whiskey. I'm also gonna have some ice cream, but it's gonna be no more than 2,000 calories at the end of the day. Can I still like get somewhere doing that, or do I actually have to stop eating ice cream? That's my big question.
Whiskey and ice cream is actually like really good for you. I don't know if you knew that. And actually, I suggest whiskey ice cream. It's the best. Yeah, like freeze some whiskey and then pour it on your ice cream. No, you probably shouldn't do any of those things if you want to look like that.
All right. I'll go for looking something close to not that, but
Looking like that is great, but guys only look like that for 2 days a year, basically. And then immediately after you walk off stage, people are shoving Oreos in your face. It is the best thing ever.
Nice. I could go for some Oreo shoving in the face. What's so you got this other picture I pulled up here. This is the one I wanted to pull up for, because this is you winning some kind of a comedy award here.
Yeah, so this is the most prestigious comedy faux awards. It was a fake award show that we put on at the very end of the year because Niagara, like everything's shut down here, right? So this guy's Levi Mann. He runs a show at a brewery here that I do, every other Tuesday or whatever. So yeah, I won Best Face. That's the award. It's very prestigious, as you can tell. And the dress code was formal. And as you can tell by everyone in the background, I was the only person that got the memo.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was a fun time. It was a good time. I didn't write anything, and I didn't expect to do a speech or win anything. So I just went up and trashed everyone for looking like they jumped out of a dumpster before they got there. That was kind of my game plan there.
Nice. Dude, I'd love to come catch one of your comedy shows one of these days when we're able to do things like that again. That'd be fantastic.
If the French guy that runs the country ever opens up the border, I'd be happy to come down and maybe do some spots at Helium or whatever you guys got down there. You guys kind of have like the mecca of comedy in your state, but everyone's kind of moving away from that to Texas, it seems like.
I noticed that. I did notice that. I'm a pretty big Joe Rogan fan, so that when he moved, I noticed.
Yeah, I'm a Rogan fan too, almost to a fault. Why is it that every time you bring up something like a scientific fact, if it was brought up from Rogan's podcast, even if a doctor said it, if he said it on Rogan's podcast, all of a sudden it's bro science. You ever notice that? How does that work? Why is that the case?
I don't know. I've heard some of that, I guess, maybe because Joe touts himself as a bro and says a bro a lot with his buddies. But man, I've definitely learned some stuff from that podcast, like the way he gets the information, the way he's able to draw information from the people he has on, which is a nice wide variety. Obviously, I hope people here have listened to that podcast at some point. Like, I wanted to learn about coffee one day. I was like, I wonder if there's a coffee podcast, a coffee Joe Rogan podcast. And sure enough, he had on some like world expert on coffee. I learned more about coffee than I ever thought I would ever know in my entire life, like the history of it, where it came from, how many species there are, the bottlenecking of the species of coffee plants coming out of Ethiopia. Like, I learned all this stuff about coffee. So I don't know where that comes from. I think it's because, I don't know. I don't have the answer for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can learn like everything from that. He's got like almost 2,000 episodes now. So if you want to learn about coffee, you can do that, or like weight training, or if Joey Diaz is on, you can learn how to set a hooker's wig on fire. So you can learn everything. It's an educational podcast all the way around.
What was that again? What are you drinking?
This is Johnny Walker Black.
Johnny Walker Black.
Yeah, very black. Yeah, it's like this step up above the red swill that you could light on fire, basically. But I like it. It's a good one.
But it's still blended. It's still peated. Most Johnny Walkers is blended with peated scotch. Is it not?
Yeah, and I like peated stuff. I have an Isla up in the shelf there. It's like, it's so smoky. It like tastes like a campfire. I like it. But yeah, this is like the perfect amount. What do you got there? What are you drinking there?
This is
your Glencairn glass.
This is one of my favorites right here. It's called Little Book, and it's where's it at? It's part of the Booker's thing, which Booker's is part of the Jim Beam family, so it's a bourbon.
Yes.
And this one's pretty, I mean, you probably know your whiskey stuff. This is 122 proof. And it's just, the flavor is super dense. It's not like Isla, which I do like the Isla. So I'm glad we're talking about whiskey. I'm starting a whiskey channel at the first week of the year. First episode of the whiskey channel goes up. So I'm a big fan of whiskey. But it's not like it's very dense, very sweet and kind of savory at the same time. It's almost like a maple bacon type of thing, but whiskey.
I like bourbon, yeah, because like bourbon is like it's corn, right? It's a 51% corn or higher mash bill,
Right.
so it's always like super sweet. So yeah, every year for our anniversary, my girlfriend will buy me like a fancy bourbon, which is like something you can get in the Midwest for $30, but here it's like $200. So Bland's was one that she bought me last year, and then 1768, I don't know, some old year or whatever. She bought me
1792.
this year. They're really, that's it. Yeah, 1792. That's really good. I like that stuff. Yeah, bourbon's awesome. My dad's a bourbon guy. Like I grew up stealing Jim Beam Black and Jack Daniels, which is a Tennessee whiskey. It's not technically a bourbon, but whatever. That's kind of what I grew up like stealing out of the liquor cabinet when I was a kid. So I like that stuff.
Nice. My parents only had like box wine and stuff like that, so it wasn't. But I did start drinking scotch a long time before bourbon. In fact, I used to snub my nose a little bit at bourbon, just that for whatever I didn't know, not educationally why, not from knowing anything about it, just like for whatever reason I thought that bourbon was below scotch. Maybe because scotch did come first, and everybody that made bourbon was making scotch first in Scotland. But yeah, so the Isla stuff like Lagavulin, I've got a couple different Ardbegs upstairs and some Lefroy. So I'm a big fan of some of the smoky stuff too. It's especially the way you have to. One of my favorites is, if you haven't tried this, I recommend it. Lagavulin double matured. So it spends.
They have that's the one that they have a quarter cask version as well, right?
Right.
Is that the same? Yeah, Lefroy. Yeah. I tried that with the quarter cask. That was really good. But here,
Lagavulin, not Lefroy. Lefroy does have quarter cask, right? But this Lagavulin I'm talking about, it's 8 years. So it's like 8 years in a bourbon cask and then 8 years in a Madeira cask. So it's still got the smokiness, but it's older, 16. So it's not as smoky as like a 10-year, but it really has this creamy backbeat because of the Madeira. Half of its life in the Madeira cask. It's pretty cool. I would definitely recommend it.
I'll see if I can find it. We have one store in the entire province you're allowed to buy liquor from, the LCBO, Liquor Control Board of Ontario. So I'll see if they have it there. Man, even some Canadian whiskeys we don't have here. There's one called Pendleton's, my favorite Canadian whiskey ever, and it's from Alberta or BC, I forget. I have to get my buddy from BC to ship it here because Ontario's like, yeah, those peasants out west, we don't sell their stuff over here.
That's what I used to do when I was in Hawaii, man. I would because you couldn't find stuff there as much as you could in Scotland. I had gone to Scotland and learned a bunch of stuff there and started having stuff sent over from Scotland, but you couldn't ship it to Hawaii. You can't have anything shipped to Hawaii. No liquor can be shipped there. It has to like go through a bar or something or through the liquor commission. So I'd have it sent to my parents' house here in California. And then when I'd come visit them, I'd come here and pick it up because you can bring it. You just can't ship it like from a company. You can put it in your carry-on or in your checked baggage and bring a whole case, I think, if you wanted to. So that's what I would do. I'd have it sent here, then come here, grab it, put it in my suitcase, and go bring it to Hawaii. Kind of ridiculous.
That is kind of ridiculous. Yeah, we have that here with wine too, where you can't, like I live in the wine capital of Canada, basically, and we can't bring wine over the border to Quebec or to Manitoba. It's like, why? It's right there. For what?
We got some chats here, some super chats. I'm failing my job. There we go. Boom. Oh, it's bourbon related. Favorite bourbons, Legendary Duke. Oh, have you tried Middleton?
I have not tried Middleton. I've seen it on the shelf, but I have not tried Middleton. No, I should. I really should.
Yeah, I haven't tried it either, actually. So, Elizabeth and Cookie have a question for you. They want to know if you got a banana ball python, would you name it Hammock?
Banana hammock would be good and be like lineage back to my bodybuilding days. So I think that's yes. Sage, I would definitely name it Hammock 100% for sure.
And by the way, guys, there's definitely a lot of people are asking, is that like Photoshop? Is that actually you? That was actually Adam. I didn't Photoshop that. I promise. That was a real picture. Just to be clear. The man freaking worked pretty hard there and got ripped.
Yeah, I worked really hard for that plastic trophy. Yeah, it was so worth it.
We should maybe we should talk about reptiles a little bit. Maybe. I mean.
Oh yeah, reptiles.
I'm so excited about the whiskey stuff. How did you get into reptiles? Tell me your reptile story, please.
So I've been obsessed with animals since I was like a child, and I grew up watching Kratz Creatures was kind of like the one I watched more than anything else. So when they did an episode about reptiles, I was like crazy about it, and my parents would like with a VCR and a old style like tape. They would tape it for me so I could watch it because it was on past my bedtime. Steve Irwin, I watched like all these top 10 venomous stuff I would watch. So Discovery Channel was always on in my house, but I wasn't allowed to keep reptiles because my mom was afraid of them. So when I started paying rent at home because I was like 17 or 18 or however old, a girl that I worked with gave me a bearded dragon. And I thought, okay, well, if I pay to live here, I'm going to have whatever I want. So I had a bearded dragon, and then I got another one and another one, and I got a leopard gecko. And then I moved out to my own house, and then I got hognose snakes and then ball python. So just kind of like grew, but I've always had a fascination with reptiles. I don't know why I gravitated towards reptiles. Well, maybe because I'm allergic to everything under the sun that has fur. That's probably why. But yeah, I just have always had a fascination. I don't know exactly when it started, but definitely when I was a small child.
And what how long have you had your show is good, dude. Your YouTube channel, when I first saw it, I can't remember what I think it just popped up in my recommendations, and I checked it out, and I was and your delivery is excellent. And maybe that's the practice of being on stage, but like your delivery is really good. I can see why people watch a lot, and not just the delivery, but like the editing, the B-roll. I saw the B-roll. Like there was a moment where I was like, "Damn, that B-roll was good." I was like, "Screw this guy." No, it was
instead of watching a bunch of like reptile channels, I watch a lot of like how to make videos good. I don't know. I like videography. When I was in high school, I took like all like the computer technology classes and like using old school video cameras and iMovie and stuff. So I don't know. I just like that I have an outlet to make stuff now. But thank you. That's very nice of you to say. And it definitely is because of screaming dick jokes on stage that I am at least good at talking about reptiles, probably.
Yeah, no, I mean the delivery, like the cadence and just like the inflections in your voice, and then the timing too of the edits. Like you know, you give a little bit here and then show some B-roll, but not too much. Like not too, you know, some really cool shots. You're like, wow, that's a beautiful shot, and then right back to the you know, to the delivery of information, and which I know you can take this because you're thick skin. I've heard from other people criticisms about your channel, and from people that are also because of jealousy. Guaranteed is because of jealousy. And I knew that when they were saying it, and I was like, and I told them too, I know why you're saying this because he's got a good channel. It's growing really well. But the biggest criticism I heard is that a lot of the information was like Googled and just like repeated off of Google. What do you have to say about that? Is that accurate or?
I would say that I do research my videos beyond like, okay, how big does a Burmese python get? And then I just regurgitate it because I have a fascination with reptiles. But at the end of the day, if you really think about it, every care guide you've ever read was something that someone else read that they regurgitated. And so they mix it with their own information and their own experience. So sure, if that's the way I want to say it, but at the end of the day, if people only cared about the information and not the delivery, they would just read care guides. No one would watch YouTube. I just present the information that I learn in a way that I hope is entertaining and definitely educational. And as long as the information is correct, who cares? Who cares where I got it as long as it's correct?
That's kind of what I said in those moments too. And I only brought it up because people had told me that literally like years apart, the same thing. And I was like, wow, people are saying this years apart from each other. And that's what I said too. I was like, the fact that it's being put out there in such a, because like to your point, anybody could read something, but nobody wants to take the time to read. It's so much easier to watch a video. This is where I learned all of my information from is on YouTube, because it's such a great place to go and find information and find people that have put the information together very well. Sometimes make it entertaining, makes it a lot easier for me, at least, to digest.
Yeah, I mean, like there's books that you could go and read, but at the end of the day, the best way to get information, in my opinion, is something that is updated all the time. You can read a book from 1982 about bearded dragon care, but I promise you, no matter how good that information is, the information I present to you last month in the video that I did is better because I got it from sources that were written in the last 30 years. So I just feel like no matter who you are, as long as you're good at presenting information, as long as you get it from a reputable source, then you can do a better job than a book that was written 30 years ago. And that's a criticism I get. It's probably the same people. Hey man, well, why don't you get your information from books? Well, because books are written once, never edited, where care guides are put up all the time and edited all the time. 30 years ago, we said never put a bearded dragon on loose substrate. And then now we know that is a big chunk of malarkey, right? So that would be how I would answer any of those people who want to, and I get it, like you're right. People, you know what it is too? It's these people who have been doing it for way longer. They've been doing it since the 80s or 90s. like before I was born probably, and they know more than me, but they don't have an audience, and they want people, that information to be out there. But because people like you and I and all these other channels put in the effort to make an audience, they are just kind of like, I don't want to use the word jealous, but why aren't people listening to me? I know more than this kid. It's just because you don't have an audience, because you didn't do anything to create an audience. That's it.
I think jealous is the correct word, actually.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I just don't want to say it out loud, because it just, well, this guy loves himself. He's full of himself. It's like, well,
Well, you saw
I guess
you hear what I said at the beginning, right? Anybody that has a YouTube channel is just self-absorbed. That's what we do. We're all about ourselves.
yeah, I'm a stand-up comedian, so like that is like tenfold, 100%. What did I do? So I took my clothes off to show off my body on stage for everyone to look at, wearing 1 square foot of cloth. And then after that, I tell jokes about like my life and my life story to an audience of strangers. And then now I make YouTube videos and scream at a camera for what 48 hours I put out last year. So yeah, self-absorbed would be, I could deny it, but I don't think it really means anything. I'm very self-aware.
I love it, bro. That's good. That's good. Yeah, no, it does. It takes, I mean, to have the confidence to put something out there, because you're going to get the criticism, especially with like stand-up comedy. You're getting it live and in the face. People, catcalling, and not catcalling. It's the
I wish. Bunch of cougars at the back. Ooh, Mr. Clean, what's up?
I'm pretty sure you got some cat calls in the live chat tonight already, but you definitely, getting hecklers and stuff. You have to dealing with it live in the audience. It's a next level than dealing with people leaving nasty comments on YouTube. So, but it takes
Nobody on YouTube has ever been as mean as someone who's been sitting in the front row of an audience, drunk as can be, where you can smell their breath from 10 feet away. No one has ever been as mean on a YouTube comment as those people. So it is what it is. Say what you want about me. I'll just laugh it off.
Yeah, you have to be a true asshole to do it live and in person, and actually have some balls, or be just too drunk to have any self-control, I guess.
It's almost always alcohol. Everyone like gets this courage, and I even invite them up sometimes, especially at like open mics. You do like these little open mic things, and then people interrupt you, and then you just, here's the microphone, you get 3 minutes, be funnier than me, go for it. And no one ever comes to the stage. Like, that's just how it is, right?
So I have to I have a confession for you. That I went to one of my very first comedy shows. It was in this place called Tracy, which, I'm sorry, people of Tracy, but you would have to pay me to live in Tracy. I think I know some people live there. I apologize to you folks, but I've always said this, that it was literally at the town over the Altamont from where I grew up. I always said, man, I just can't do it. But these guys, my friends, the cool thing was, it was this one guy, and it was like there was 7 girls and us. That was our crew, and we were going to Tracy. And so we looked cool because it was 2 dudes with a bunch of girls, and it was like, oh, these guys are cool. I don't remember why that happened. I think it was my sister and a bunch of her friends or something. I don't know. But my point is, I was like, why are we going to Tracy? I'm going to a comedy show. I was like, oh, but okay. So I went because I was like, oh, I guess this is what we're doing. And when I was there, listening, I wasn't trying to heckle. I promise I was not being an intentional heckler. But the guy that was on stage, like some of the stuff he was saying, which is what I love about comedy and comedians, is like the true comedy to me. And tell me where you stand with this. To me, the best comedy, well, I know where you stand with this. You're a comedian. Is truth. It's based on truth. When you're up there just telling the truth, telling stories about the truth, that's the best comedy ever, right?
Yeah, it is the best comedy ever. And that's why you get guys like Chappelle and Burr who are leading the way, because those guys are kind of like, they very much remind me, like if Pryor and Carlin had a baby, it would have spit out Chappelle and Burr. That is my opinion. I think those are the best of all time, and now the 2 alive best of all time. But also, people have to realize, like, whatever a comedian is saying, he is elevating his personality to a character. Like, what I say on stage is a character. So if I say something disgusting and morbid, it's like there's a little bit of truth there, but I'm escalating it to make it funny. And that's why you get all these Karens and these social justice warriors. This comedian said this, and then they throw 3 podiums at you to apologize because you said something on stage. It's like, I didn't mean it all the way. It's funny, and everyone laughed except for you, and you weren't even there. You're just some blogger who heard about it. So anyway, I come in very hot about this comedy thing, because this cancel culture is like, there's nothing that bothers me more than censorship, unless it is deserved, but it is almost never deserved.
Ooh, yeah, I'd like to get back to that, because I'm sure we feel very similar about these things. I want to feel so the guy on stage was doing that. He was, I agreed with so much of the stuff he was saying, like all of it. And I was very excited about what he was saying. I was like, yes, I think it was something about cannabis legalization, something along those lines. And I was just like, I felt like I had to respond to some of the things he was saying, and I didn't know. And my whole crew that I was with was trying to tell me, stop, like saying stuff to him when he's doing his show. And I was like, I can't help it. Like, it's good. I agree. And it worked out. It was a smaller club. It wasn't such a big thing, but it did work out because our group ended up getting to stay after the club closed, and they invited me up on stage personally to take drinks. So I didn't get, I as much as I was not doing what I was supposed to do at a comedy show, which I don't do that anymore, it still worked out.
As long as you're not being a disruption. Like, I don't think that would be like a disruption. If that was me up there, like just the way you described it would just be like, I would just play on it. You're like, you should never try to help a comedian, but if you're doing that, like, whatever. If you're truly heckling and like trying to like heckle a guy, that's a different thing. And a comedian 9 times out of 10 is gonna be smarter than you and gonna be quicker than you, and they're gonna make you wish that you didn't open your mouth in the first place. But to agree with a comedian, they'll just roll with it if they're a good comedian.
Yeah, and that's what he did. And he was like, what did he say? He started calling me Humboldt. He had a nickname for me already. He called me Humboldt. He's like, well, that's something about you're coming up here anyway, Humboldt. True to his word, I ended up there having drinks with him. So
that's the formula, man. Yeah, so you create a nickname, or you find someone that they look like, and then you compare them to that everyone around them will see, and then those people will laugh, and then everybody will laugh. So like before you even go up on stage, especially if you're like later in the lineup, a lot of the times I'll just look around at the audience, like who's in the front, what do they look like, who do they look like, and then you compare them to a character that everybody knows. Like here, like everyone wears plaid and beanies, so everyone's somebody from Letterkenny. Easiest comparison ever, and it works every time. And then you kind of get them, and normally when you call someone out, they're just like, now they're your friend because they got enough attention that they're there, and they shut up.
Yeah, I guess that's the ideal situation, right? Especially if they're trying to heckle you.
Mm-hmm.
Sage again, Elizabeth and Cookie. I'm guessing they said, yeah. I don't know if that's Elizabeth and Cookie. Sage, can you tell me, is Sage boy or girl?
Sage is she's a lady. She's basically, yeah, she runs my Discord server basically. She's like a number one. If there was a president of the WWF fan club, that's Sage. She's awesome.
Gotcha. The only reason I have confusion is my son's hyphenated is Noah Sage, so I get confusion with the name. But she said if she's at one of your stand-ups and you invite her up, she will go up there and win at comedy.
So Sage has showed up to these online roast battles. Like here, we don't, like, nothing's open, so we have these online roast battles instead. So I promote them on Discord, and Sage has come, and then we'll like have a chat after on Discord for everyone who watched. And some of the stuff Sage says about me is meaner and funnier than anything these other professional comedians have said. Sage is like, her name on Discord is Sage, the professional or the real comedian, and she is honestly funnier than half the comedians I've ever met. She's a funny lady.
I think I'm gonna have to join your crew, man. We got more in common than I would have thought. And this is what I love about the Reptiles and the Reptile thing. You find people that have all these other common threads, like the whiskey. I haven't done it. I'm trying to get in shape right now. And then when you sent that picture, I was like, damn, this guy's done it already. And then the comedy. I'm a huge fan of comedy. I would love to try it at some point. And I don't know. I definitely haven't, at least not on a stage. I've done it in groups of people, but that's not anything like standing up on a stage with a mic. I've spent so much time on stage with a microphone playing drums and singing, but not actually like trying to make people laugh on purpose.
It helps because like mic control is like a weird thing, right? Like if you have a microphone, a lot of the times you'll see guys talking like this, moving their head. Like if you know how to use a microphone, then that really helps, and like it makes you look more professional and adds professionalism. My recommendation if you ever try it is don't tell anybody. And when you go, make sure the host tells the audience that it's your first time. And that way they'll be like, because most people suck for a while. So it is what it is. And then don't be nervous. Like I remember the first time I ever went on stage doing comedy, I was like, my stomach was having so many issues all day. And I told nobody about it. And I made sure that I got the advice from Burr and Brian Regan. They did a podcast about their first times. And I was kind of like, took all the advice from that. And so just like go with confidence. Nobody cares if you suck. They expect you to suck, especially the other comedians. And all the comedians, as long as they're not dicks, will just put an arm around you and be like, hey man, great job. You should keep going, and like words of encouragement. So that's my recommendation. Comedians are dicks, except for if they realize you're actually trying and giving it 110%, then they'll be nice to you because you're the same people, you know?
There is something really awesome about making people laugh, man. I really love it. Even when people when I can't even when I can't hear them, like if I do something in a YouTube video and somebody's like sent me types that they were dying or that they were rolling, I was like, yes, yes, people are laughing. I win.
I win. Yeah.
um, let's see photos. There was your boy here. I'm guessing he was a boy with that name. Blue tongue skink Irwin.
Mm-hmm.
What's up with this dude?
Yeah. So yeah, that's my boy right there. I got him about a year and a half ago, and like blue tongue skink, that was actually the reptile that made me fall in love with reptiles. Steve Irwin was on a talk show. I forget what late night show it was. It could have been like, I don't know, it might have been the Tonight Show. I have no idea. And I was so young, I shouldn't have even been up watching it. And the blue tongue started peeing on the host, and the host referred to it as a blue tongue peeing lizard. And ever since, I just like, I fell in love with him. I'm like, that was the funniest thing I ever saw. So it was like two things colliding, comedy and reptiles. So I've always loved them, but they're really expensive here. I don't know what the market is there, but even for Indonesians, it's like really expensive to buy them here. So, but yeah, that's my guy. He's very placid. People love him, and he's like kind of like a star of the channel, if you can call him that.
How many reptiles do you have over there that you keep?
I have 67 reptiles, and I know that because I just filmed a reptile room tour, which is coming in on Thursday. So I had to count them all, but that's including the few. I've got a few ball pythons and hognose snakes that I'm selling. They weren't eating great, so I had to hold them back a little bit longer. But now they're like ready for sale. So yeah, it's not a huge collection. It's very manageable, and that's the way I like to keep it.
Yeah, it sounds like we got a pretty similar. I think my number is right in there somewhere. I haven't counted recently, but it's somewhere right in that number too.
You got a wicked setup there. I always watch your videos and look at like the row behind you, and I also love how you do it there because you have like these snakes trying to make cameos in the background there. It's really cool.
Yeah, they're usually, especially when I put the lights on out here and it's nighttime, and they're doing stuff. Yeah, she's coming. She's ready for. She smells the rats. That's one thing
Oh, you got rats on, do you?
Yeah. So they're like, where's mine? And she also, it's wintertime, so they don't get out nearly as much. Like when it's not wintertime, I'll take them. It's way too cold for them to go outside today, but I like to take them out to climb in trees and stuff. And that's not happening right now. So they're a little antsy.
Yeah, I try to do that with my collection too for the 8.5 days that it's warm enough to do that here in Canada. So yeah, I make jokes with living in the Arctic, but man, it's warmer here in the summer than it is where you are. It is like ridiculous. And we have one of the only natural escarpments in the world, and right between Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. So it's so humid here. It's like 100% humidity. And like it screws my hair up. It's brutal, man. It's really bad.
Dude, I always kick myself for trying to say something about cold when I'm talking to somebody from north of the wall, man.
The wall.
Wildlings up there are dealing with something a little different, man.
Yeah, it's cold now. We got snow on the ground now. It was like 7 degrees Celsius above today, so most of it like melted. But yeah, it gets very warm in the summer. I actually keep reptiles outside in the summer too, so it's nice for 4 or 5 months.
What do you keep outside?
I keep a jeweled lizard outside, and I keep a Sudan plated lizard outside. And then this year I just got cherry head tortoises, so I'll be keeping them outside as well. I build like cat-proof enclosures because we got a lot of like feral cats here. But yeah, so I build the enclosures, and I love it because they get like the natural UVB. My Bob, my jeweled lizard, he has metabolic bone disease. I got him that way, so he kind of like walks like a T-Rex. It's really funny, and I feel like the UVB really he actually puts on weight when he's outside, and I just leave him alone. But it's weird because inside he will come to the glass and like greet you and try to like bite you, and he's like very aggressive. Like I know you're supposed to use that word with reptiles, but he is like Bob's a bit of a prick. But outside with a natural UVB, it's almost like he sees you different, like he's afraid of you. And if like the dog walks by, I don't know, it's very different, but he adds a lot of his color changes, and I think it's really good for reptiles. That is my long-winded way of what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got some that I forgot to mention this when Dylan was on last time, but I do actually have some that are outside year round. A pair of Russian tortoises I built an outdoor thing for, which I mean they can.
That's cool.
They can stand anything, but Yeah, I wish
I
that.
love outdoor enclosures. I love animal like keeping reptiles outside. Like Kennan's channel, I watch a lot, and
Oh, dude.
that's like the dream, right? Like that is like when you watch that, every reptile keeper in the world is looking at that with envy. Like that is the dream. But in Canada, and there's nothing in this world that'll live outside besides maybe a garter snake for the entire year.
That's 100% true, man. I always say, I always compare it to, it's like Hawaii where you can keep reptiles. You know, they might get a little bit colder there in the wintertime than Hawaii does, but not by much, man. And yeah, Kennan's place especially, he's done such a, that pond. Oh, man. He's a cool guy too, man. I got to spend a few days with him in Australia, right at the end there. And
I watch those videos. Yeah.
oh, cool. Yeah, he's an awesome dude, man. Like, I can't wait to go to his place, which will probably happen here in 2021. I'll go check out his place and go swim in that pond, and then go home feeling totally. There's a word for it, incomplete.
Yeah,
or,
you like to get in bodies of water, right? Like you see a receptacle of water and you just need to jump into it. I've noticed like every video that I see where you're, yeah.
yeah,
Is that a thing that you do?
yeah. I like water. I spent a lot of time right in Hawaii. I was in the water all the time. I'm not a Pisces or anything like my son, who's always in the water. But yeah, that's any excuse to jump in some water. So I'll get in water that most people won't get into. I did it just this. My wife's grandmother's pool down there in Southern California was 50 degrees the other day, and so we did some like I sat in the little hot. They heated up the hot tub, sat in there 50 minutes, jumped in the pool for 6 minutes, then back in the hot tub, then back in the pool. I'm sure you've done stuff like that with your health stuff, and then being in an actual cold place.
Buckets. Yeah, we used to have like this big receptacle stock tank, and we'd leave it outside in the winter. My buddy's place, he had it, and we'd have to like break the ice to get into it, and yeah, it was like a silly thing. But if you ever come to like whenever the world opens up and the Toronto Expo opens up and you come back, I'll take you to this place, Lake Ontario, Lakeside Park. It's called. It's the Rush song. It's what it's about for my hometown, and we'll take you there. You can jump in that water. You're gonna come out with like 3 or 4 extra limbs you didn't go in with, but it is a very interesting place. It's a very nice pier and stuff like that. I wouldn't recommend swimming in it, but you might. You know, it'd be good.
Wait. Are we talking because of the because of the temperature, or because of the pollution?
Oh, the pollution. It's disgusting. It is absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's good. Every time you go in, you come out with like a bunch of syringes stuck in you. So you kind of look like a porcupine. It's really good. It's like you come out half fish, half porcupine. If people swim in it all the time, I have like more intelligence than that, I guess.
Yeah.
But if you like bodies of water.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that I remember. I came back after living on the islands for, what, a decade, and came back to my home lake, which isn't bad. It's a lake. It's just the color is not, that nice in the lake. And it was almost like yellow. I remember when I came after coming back from one of the trips to visit home, I was like, whoa, has this water always been yellow? And I was like, I don't think I want to get it. So as much as I will jump into bodies of water, yes, I have standards, Adam.
Standards?
Like my standards have gone up as I've gotten older. I used to have much lower standards than I do now for things, including bodies of water.
Yeah, the Great Lakes are beautiful, but the ones that we have here, Lake Ontario and Lake Erie, I would not recommend ever going into them. They're pretty. It's like to the point where if you go fishing and you put your fishing lure into your plastic tackle box, if you take it out like 3 days later, the imprint of it has melted into the plastic. That's the water quality here. Just to give you an idea, as I dump all over my entire province.
Yeah, don't take me there. Well, you live near a city. I mean, city breed pollution, right? That's the Alawai Canal in just above Waikiki. It's like what separates Waikiki from the rest of Honolulu, kind of. That thing is so gnarly, dude. You do not want to touch that water. People paddle in there like with their oars. I'm like, oh man, what are you doing? Some guy got beat up one night after the bars and thrown in the Alawai, and he died from infection, like his open wounds in the Alawai. Yeah. I
went to Hawaii when I was 13. That was the only time, like the only international trip I ever really went on. And we went to like a bunch of places in the South Pacific, but Waikiki was like the coolest place ever. We saw Dennis Rodman was at our hotel then, and he was like still like pretty famous then. It was like 2004. It was pretty cool. I like that place. Hawaii is cool, but you can't own reptiles there, right?
Not without jumping through some crazy loophole. I heard recently that there are some crazy loopholes that you could potentially be able to do it, but man, I don't know what those are, and I haven't heard of them. I don't know personally that that's actually possible. So yeah, no, from my understanding, it's basically impossible to keep reptiles out there. I don't think they don't even have zoos with reptiles in them.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that. There's another place too. Someone wrote in the comment section that's like that too, but I forget where it is. There's another place, and they said even like research. There's no research facilities with snakes or anything like that. So
probably
I guess it makes sense.
maybe
It makes sense
Guam.
because that's like a perfect. It might, yeah, it might have been, yeah, it might be. It was somewhere like in that area, but I guess it makes sense. Like if you look at what's happened, basically well, look at what's happening in the Everglades. Imagine if there's no natural predators really in Hawaii for animals like that, right?
Right. Well, there are mongoose because they had a rat problem. You know, they some of the settlers brought rats, and they were like, we gotta get rid of these rats. So they brought mongoose to take care of the rats, but the rats are nocturnal, and the mongoose are mostly diurnal, and they kind of never cross paths, and they have rats and mongoose. So potentially there are some predators for snakes there, being the mongoose. But yeah, that's the
I
thing
know
though.
mongoose can like take they can take like venomous snakes, but could they take down like 10-foot retic or berm or
No, I think that's when you switch from
yeah.
predator to prey, right at retic. Maybe
Yeah, I think that
berm,
would be like
maybe
the
boa.
main issue, right? Is like, yeah, because that's kind of what they deal with in Florida. Like I saw that one that they, how big was it? It was like 18 feet or something they caught in Florida like last week or the week before, a berm.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, no mongoose is taking that one down.
No, I'm not thinking that must be like a mongoose on steroids. Like, yeah, it would not be. Yeah, the mongoose would probably look like me from 4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's definitely I think that's the main reason is that it's so. That's what happened in Guam. I think Hawaii basically didn't want to become Guam. I think it was the brown tree snake that came there and just like decimated all the native birds in Guam, and now what it used to be, you know, a forest filled with bird noises. Now it's like silent. Um,
New
Hawaii.
Zealand is where this person was talking about actually. Sorry, and I just remember that, right? Because they have nothing beside. They have like no native snakes, I think, right? Something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, those places like that. What was the other? Oh, the Koki frog kind of really did the opposite to Big Island, where Guam made the forest silent from the birds. The Koki frogs just make all this noise on the Big Island, where they're an invasive species too. It always trips me out talking about invasive species because I feel like we are the most invasive species ever, and it's like, what audacity for us to be like, this is invasive and this is invasive, and here we are, shopping mall, freeway. It's like, you know.
Anything green that produces oxygen, let's get rid of, and everything that eats up oxygen and puts off carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, let's make more of that. That's basically, yeah, we are a cancer to the world. We definitely are. And I think it was Rogan that said at the beginning of his 2005 special, the first one ever on Netflix, and he says at the very beginning in the back of a limo, how when you fly over the country, it looks like a virus. Humans look like a virus everywhere.
I hadn't heard him say that, but I've definitely thought that. I remember one of the first times I was in a plane and flew over a city, you know, especially from up high as possible, and it almost looks like like a circuit board, like it's taking over the natural part of the world. You got all these, yeah, just like that, like the Borg or something just comes in and spread all the little, you know, veins of cybernetic waves to the streets. Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, I do like living on this place. It's pretty cool. And yeah, but I also drive a V8 vehicle. So, I mean, like, how much do I really care? I guess kind of like hypocritical. But I think at the same time, yeah, it is very interesting to like look down. And it does look like a virus. As we
Yeah, I mean,
like.
most of us are. As much as a lot of us care and want, we are definitely caught up in the wave of technology and humanity. You know, as much as anybody wants to talk about this or that, a lot of people are doing it right on their iPhone, or some kind of phone that was, you know, built in some third world country with mining. Yeah, most of us out there are guilty. Anybody on the internet, basically, anybody using technology, we're all guilty of similar things. And we can tout as much as you want. I only have one car and it's a hybrid, which currently right now is true, but I never think to use it as like, that makes me better than you.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you have a hybrid that has a lithium battery that was mined by slaves halfway across the world, that makes you a better person than me, who made something that was, built over there that produced, I get it.
Yes, see, I'm glad you got my point. That's exactly what it is.
Yes. See, the iPhone is very powerful because you may do the most complaining on your iPhone about capitalism and sweatshop labor. And it's like the irony, just how can you not see Man, no matter how funny I will ever be, I will never be as funny as somebody complaining about capitalism on an iPhone. This is the funniest thing this world has ever seen.
How does speaking of freedom of speech and stuff, how does that work in Canada? Because I know, is it true that Canada? I've heard this. I don't know if it's true. Is there not technically freedom of speech in Canada?
Technically, no. Like we don't have it like you guys have it. Like I guess kind of, sort of. And if you told this to most Canadians, most of them would disagree with me. But we do put people in jail for saying the wrong words. It is a real thing that we do. It is now illegal to, like, pronouns is a big thing, right? Like no matter how you feel about it, I personally believe if you want to be called whatever, I'll call you that because I'm not a dick, basically. But in Canada, if you call someone something they don't want to be called, then that is now an offense. It is a criminal offense. So we do kind of police people's speech, and we have had comedians being sued and losing their homes and losing basically everything they own because of something they said on stage to make somebody laugh. And I forget the guy's name. He was on Rogan's podcast, a Canadian comedian. I really should know this guy's name. He lost his house. He lost everything. Basically, he was making fun of, it was like a Make-A-Wish joke, basically, about a kid who died, or a kid who made a bunch of money from Make-A-Wish, and then he never died. And that was the joke. That was the premise of the joke, which is funny, even though I didn't say it properly. And he got sued, and he lost like basically everything.
Wow. That's intense, man. I was going to ask, how does that work with comedy over there? I guess sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm a nobody in comparison to like most, comedians. And at the end of the day, like, if a comedian from Canada has really made it because he no longer lives in Canada, like there's no way to make money here, like real, true money. Like there's no Jim Carrey's, Russell Peters, like none of those people live here. They live there for a reason because you guys actually pay comedians. Where here it's like very difficult to make a true living. And that's why, like, sure, I'm a professional comedian, but also I do this and I have real estate and things like that. Like there's no way to make your monthly nut just from telling dick jokes. And if you do, you're living a very like reasonable life, like budgeting like crazy. It's a different thing. That's everyone's goal in Canada as an entertainer is to move to the US. And I am definitely on that train. If I ever got the opportunity, I would be there in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think about it.
What city?
If I had to choose, I always said Los Angeles because comedy, but now I would probably pick somewhere around Austin. I think that's where the next comedy boom is going to be. And also, I like freedom. I like reptiles. I like guns. I like trucks. I like warm weather. I like all of those things. In Texas, like...
What kind of Canadian are you, Adam?
I know. I don't know. I'm like, people think I'm from Alberta when I speak, actually, which is interesting. Alberta doesn't have rats. Do you know that? There's no rats in the province of Alberta. You're not allowed to keep them. You're not allowed to feed them. Yeah, they just like, they're crazy there. Also, everyone calls them the Texas of Canada.
Weird. I feel like Texas has plenty of rats. Wait.
Well, I think it's more like they're a very conservative view over there, and everyone drives like a big truck. And it's like I love that province. It's a great place. I go to Edmonton once a year. It's a good place. It's very cold in the winter though, like wicked cold.
Except minus no rats, so you can't feed your reptiles over there.
Yeah, you're not allowed, like even in Saskatchewan, the province over, you can't keep ball pythons at all. Like no ball pythons, no hognose snakes. Like there are some very restrictive laws. I'm in a very lucky place where we don't have many of those. Like just don't keep venomous stuff, basically, is all I have here.
Gotcha. Another one of your admins are dropping super chats over here like crazy. I don't know what snutters are, and I don't know if you do.
I should have wore the shirt. So have you seen the picture floating around? It's like a guy's logo, I guess, and it's a picture of like a white ball python with like photoshopped udders feeding a baby ball python. It's been floating around the internet. So someone tagged me in it, and like in March, I said if this post gets 100 likes, I'll make a video. So I made a video. It's like the best video I ever made. No one ever watched it. It was like 4,000 views on it, about how snakes milk their young. And I created this whole character, Dr. Fexneck, to like, anyway, I suggest anyone who wants a good laugh. That was like the funniest video I ever made. I tried to really create like a comedy in reptile. Anyway, so snutters are how snakes, ball pythons feed their young. Yeah, they produce snilk. So the baby ball pythons ingest the snilk, and that's how they grow big and strong to then create snutters of their own to feed their young.
if there is a link down in the description for Adam's channel, if any of you guys haven't seen that video, you can go find it right now and find out exactly what's going on with these snutters and this snilk.
Yeah, the Dr. Fexneck, he's a very reputable doctor from Edmonton. Actually, he said in the video, he always wears a bathrobe and nothing else, and drinks tall cans of Canadian beer always. So I truly respect his opinion.
All right.
He looks a lot like me, but it's not me.
I'm gonna have to go. I don't think I've seen that either. Did you correct? Isn't that the best thing? You spend so much time and working with. This is gonna be the best video ever. Put in like weeks of editing and like getting all the shots. You have a shot list. You got your storyboard, and then you put it up, and it's like it goes.
Yeah, nobody watched it. It was like 4,000 views or something, and I keep pushing it on Discord, and still like no one cares. Yeah, they're the most dislikes of any video ever on that.
Your head's getting too big, Wickens. 4,000 views is some views, okay? People watched it.
Yeah, I shouldn't say it like that. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right.
People like, I haven't got 4 views of my video. You freaking Canadian. Move to the U.S. Move to Texas.
Yeah, now he's never moving to this country.
I don't know if I think we might have more Canadians in here right now than Americans. I've had a lot of Canadian guests on here. My last guest was Canadian. My next guest is Canadian. I've got
Yeah, I watched last week's episode. I love Dylan, man. That guy's like, he deserves more recognition. I learned so much from that guy's channel even before he did the podcast. And he had me on his podcast in April or something. But yeah, Dylan, he's an OG, and he lives in like a true winter Canadian city. So, oof.
Yeah,
sorry to be you, Dylan, right now.
I liked him too. That's why I had him on. And then just today he was giving me some. He said if I sent him some videos of me swimming, because he was a swim coach, like a professional coach. If I sent him some video of me swimming, he could give me some pointers on how to improve my stroke and stuff. So I'm super thankful. That's what I love about this, man. Especially this is the ones I know before in the green room we were talking about how much I really can't wait to go back and do these in person, but the ability to do them now on the internet, or the fact that I'm doing them now on the internet, I can reach out to people that I maybe am not going to see in person anytime soon. So and then make real connections is awesome, man. I'm super glad you've come on. And speaking of people in Canada, I've got a thing for Canadians, man. I always have. Even when I first visited BC back in the band days, man, I was just like, damn, these people are cool as shit.
Yeah, I went to BC for the first time this year, actually. Fort St. John, which is like the middle. If you look at it on a map, you're like, why would anybody ever go there? I went there to officiate a wedding. I was the priest of a wedding, basically. It was a lot of fun. It was a good time. Yeah, I love BC. It's a very cool place.
Nice. Yeah, one of the first places I went there too. We played some festival out in the middle. It was in the forest, almost. It was Waimea, like Waimea River. It was in the Kootenays, just like.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then we went to Nelson too, but the first part was Waimea, and I was like, damn, we're in the cuts right now. Speaking of other Canadians, there was a couple more photos you sent and I hadn't shared yet, and I wanted to share them before we, and especially because I know these Canadians too, right here, KB Reptiles, Carrie and Barrows, really good friends. Actually, I really like these guys. And I was on that. I recognized the backdrop too. That's the stage of the Toronto show.
Yeah, so I was kind of like shocked. Grant, who runs the shows, he just kind of like tapped me on the shoulder. I had like 2,000 subscribers or something, 4,000 subscribers at the time. And he tapped me on the shoulder. Hey, I watch your channel. Go talk to Carrie and Barrows and they'll interview you. And I couldn't even believe, like, how do you know who I am? And it was very cool. And like those two are very good for the reptile community. They're very good ambassadors. And I think that we need more people like them who are very selfless. They have no ego. They're not like YouTuber. Well, there are YouTubers, but they don't have like that typical YouTuber, it's all about me thing. And yeah, I love those guys. It was like I don't know, one of the things that I've always set out to do when I started the channel, to like be recognized by the Canadian media team at our expos, and to do it so soon was amazing. It was like a very proud accomplishment, even though it might not be a huge thing. To me, it was.
Yeah, I mean, it felt huge for me when they had me go up too, and I felt like I got, I don't know what happened, how it worked out. Maybe because I was friends with them beforehand, I cheated. I was like, we're friends. we want to come up and sit here and talk with us? I was like, yes, of course I do. Yeah, like were we at that same show? Were we ever at the same show and we didn't know it? Were you at the show?
Well, I was at every Breeders' Expo. The one where you got all your camera stuff stolen. I remember watching that video afterwards. And I remember I was at that show. And then, so we were definitely at the same shows. Actually, the last Breeders' Expo we had was in 2019. And I remember I saw Dave Kaufman there. And I remember like, it was like a fanboy thing. And I couldn't believe like how like he looks like an extra in Shrek. He is so big. I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. And I tried to like meet him, but he had like he didn't. He blew past me in the most kind way possible. Like, I have to be on that stage right now. I don't know who you are. Why are you all the way down here? Why am I speaking to a man at this? And my neck hurts looking down at this angle to speak to you. So, but yeah, I think I saw you walking around to that one too. I just had no clout at the time and no one knew who I was.
Well, I wouldn't treat you like Dave treats his fans. I promise you that.
It was the nicest snub of all time. Like, no, I love Dave and he's talked to me since. But yeah, it was just very much like, all right, okay, we'll catch up later. I got to be on that stage right now. It was like I respected it. I'm like, oh, this guy like has priorities, and he's one of the busiest dudes ever. Like, that guy hustles hard. That guy hustles super hard, and he doesn't really like brag about it.
One of these days, you're gonna come meet Dave with me, the real Dave Kaufman.
Well, I saw that he was yeah, because you did a video and he was walking around in the background like 7 or 8 times over that. Like, yeah, so okay.
No, we're gonna hang out with you, and I are gonna hang out with Dave. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for this. It's gonna be so much fun. We're gonna laugh a lot.
I can't wait. We'll take a picture, but I get to stand like on 3 step stools, so I'm kind of the same height as him. That's how we're gonna do it.
We're gonna do a lot of laughing at Dave's expense. It's gonna be the best, I promise. And
yeah,
he will deserve every chuckle.
I just want to get down to the US one day and like kind of like meet some of you guys and actually do like videos at that point. So I don't know, grow the channel a little bit, and like because I think there's a certain point where you have to like earn like the respect of other bigger channels. So, but I'd love to do that. And like when everyone comes to Toronto, like that'd be like the coolest thing ever to like meet people and kind of like collaborate. But yeah, we don't do that here. We stay in your house or we'll find you. Basically, is how we're living right now. So it might be a while.
Yeah. Well, when you do, man, I mean, come out. I mean, I'm sure now that you've got much more outreach possibilities out here, but dude, I'll be more than happy to facilitate a herping trip with Dave and yourself at some point. That would be fantastic. I would love to do that. And before we're almost getting out of here, I wanted to give options to the folks. You got one more from Elijah Snyder, $5 donation to get Adam some drywall stilts so that you can shake Dave's head. How tall are you exactly?
5'4", or on Tinder 5'7". You guys know how it is, right?
Okay, gotcha. And
yeah. Elijah's another one that's like, he's not a comedian, but he's funnier than I am by a lot. He's way funnier than me.
And this is you guys' chance in the chat too. If you have some questions that you want to throw up for Adam before we jump out of here and go to the after party, then do it now or forever hold your peace. Yeah, it'll be fun. I want to throw Dave under the bus so bad right now, but I'm not gonna do it. I could do it, Dave. You owe me, buddy. You owe me. I'm throwing you under the bus.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet him and like hurt my neck for 3 days as I stare up at him and have a conversation. I can't wait. It'll be a fun time.
I'm gonna throw him. He's on our Patreon. He never jumps on the Zoom calls ever unless he's the guest. But I'm gonna throw him under the bus once we get in the after party.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it. I love the dirt. Drywall stilts. So funny. I never would have thought of that. It's so
funny. Elliot Perez always has great questions, and he wants to know if you have ever taken off your shirt and flexed on somebody so they can back off.
No, because I think most people know that gym muscles do absolutely nothing. And if you've been to 3 jiu-jitsu classes, you'd probably choke me out if I did that to you. So I used to walk around downtown of my hometown with my shirt off and just have like the 45-year-old ladies whistle at me. Like that was my flex, basically. Never try to fight anybody. When you're 5'4", you should not be fighting anybody, even after preschool level. Like you should not fight 8th graders if you're my height. That's just how it works.
Oh man. Fantastic. I think the best Dave story, that one's for me. There's a link down in the description. Join the after party and you will hear some of the best Dave stories you've ever heard in your life that nobody has ever heard before. I promise.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Oh, my mom's here. Hey mom. What's up?
Mom. Dude, that's how I know I feel that's a proud moment for me. When somebody's mother jumps in. I mean, obviously she's here for you, not me, but I had Jay Tomsky, Brian's editor, and awesome human over there at the Reptarium. His mom comes on my channel and comments all the time and has conversations with me on the comments. And I'm like, I got Jay's mom. Yes.
My mom is she's a very supportive lady. She even comes to my comedy shows and lets me tell jokes about her as she's sitting there. It's pretty fun.
That's a good mom, man. That's a good mom. Well, hey, before we jump to the after party, you want to say anything to our audience that you haven't said to your audience already?
Well, thanks for having me on. I know that we're going to do an after party thing, but thanks for having me on the channel. I appreciate the platform. It's, I've been watching you for a lot longer than I've had a channel, and thanks everyone for showing up. And if you want to go and subscribe to my channel, I appreciate it. We got a really cool reptile room tour coming out on Thursday.
Yep, links down in the description, guys. It's right there. You just click on it once and you can go check it out if you haven't already, man. It's really good. That's why I had the guy on right here. Thank you, Adam. I'll see you very shortly, my friend. All right, folks, that was it. Yeah, you guys, if you're not jumping the after party, definitely go check out. MJ's got an awesome guest on today. I know I was giving him crap in the beginning. That's because he deserved it for just stomping all over my timestamp like a true friend wouldn't. Not that it's my specific timestamp, but it is kind of in a way. I mean, wouldn't it? Wouldn't I would definitely have been like, hey, what? Blah 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 blah. Anyway, you get it. You get it. I give him crap, you know, because he earned it, just like Dave earned the crap that I'm gonna give him at the after party when he's not listening and it's not recorded. Dave, I'm gonna see you soon, buddy. I'll tell you all about what I said about you when you weren't listening too. It's gonna be great. We're gonna relive all these moments. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, link in the description for Adam's channel. Thank you guys for always coming and tuning in. We saw a lot of you folks in here that are always here, and I appreciate you guys coming through. So have yourselves a great evening. Take care of yourselves. Happy New Year. Bye. Bye. Finally got a guest that wants some metal.